Your hosts, Tony Gwynn Jr.
How about Hungary?
Tony needs one for the title.
Hungary? Did you say Hungary?
He said Hungary.
He's not allowed to win if he calls it Hungary.
And Chris Ello.
And as soon as the white smoke comes out the chimney, they've got a new pope.
What's
and
a
everybody
chimney?
celebrates. It's a chimney. It's my version of a chimney.
It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
And a very happy 4th of July Eve to everybody. Welcome into Gwynn and Chris, the Wednesday edition. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr. in Dallas with the San Diego Padres. Matt Scraby alongside here in the Odyssey Palace studios, and we get things underway for the next couple of hours, talking some sports with you, getting you ready for the holiday weekend. I realize it's not a 4-day holiday weekend for everybody out there. As a matter of fact, for you, Tony Gwynn Jr., it's a no holiday weekend. You'll be working every single day, but you will get to come home from Dallas tomorrow and then have some home cooking over the weekend as the Padres will get ready to host the Arizona Diamondbacks. I bring all of this stuff up because I'd rather pretty much talk about anything than last night's 7-0 loss to the Texas Rangers. There wasn't a whole lot of good in that one.
Well, first, I'm going to correct you on one thing. I'm actually not working this weekend. I have that series off.
Yeah. Okay, well, things are looking up. Things are looking up.
Things are looking up. Yeah, it was a rough one yesterday. You know what's funny is I got to talk to a bunch of people I really enjoy talking to. I got to talk to Max Scherzer for a good 30 minutes. He did most of the talking.
Yeah.
I got to visit my good friend Will Venable, who proceeded to tell me, how this team, they're struggling this year because they just don't slug. They don't slug at all.
The Rangers.
And the Rangers, they don't do that. And then I got to speak to Boach for a little bit, which is always a treat to get a chance to spend. I didn't get to spend too much time because he was kind of busy. But then the game started, and all the Rangers did was slug. I think they had like 2 singles in the whole game. Everything else was doubles, triples, and home runs. And
they had, was it 6 extra base hits against Dylan Cease, which is a season high. So
yeah, that was tough to watch. I mean, obviously, on one end, Dylan just couldn't command anything, and it
just
seemingly...
what you talked about yesterday, Tony. I kept thinking about it as I was watching the game because when he was hitting his spots, he was getting his strikeouts. But too often that ball was landing in the middle of that box. And when it lands there, it doesn't stay there very long.
The other thing, he was seemingly more frustrated than I seen him in any of his starts. Like you could see it in his face, like he was just irritated with himself. And it started out as just being fastball command. And when I say command, it's not just not being able to throw strikes, but what kind of quality strikes are you throwing, right? And he couldn't, with the fastball, it was early. But then it like morphed into everything. He couldn't throw the slider by the third. It seemed like he had completely kind of lost the feel for that. He landed another one of those changeups, only he landed it in the wrong spot because Lowe ended up hitting it out in his first 2-run shot of that game. And it's just, so that's where it started. Offensively, they didn't get much going. Nathan Eovaldi was in like playoff form.
Yeah, I know. He must have heard me. He was in
playoff form. And so it looked like
version.
a team. It looked like a team that was coming off an off day, even though both of them were. One team looked like it, the other team didn't.
I go back to one particular pitch in that game, and you talk about the frustration of Dylan Cease, and I know that when I pitched, and I can't.
Yeah, you seem like you used to wear your emotions on your sleeve.
I did. You never saw me
throwing
pitch.
his hat on the ground.
Right. You never saw me pitch, but you got it down exactly, Tony. And he struck out Lowe on a beautiful, I think it was a slider, right at the bottom of the zone on a 2-2 pitch. And he had him struck out. That was strike 3, and he didn't get the call. And I don't know that would have frustrated me, although he would have been perturbed. But then again, when you 2 pitches later, you throw that changeup and hits it out of the ballpark. Now that can start to build on me. And I don't have any idea whether this happened to Dylan Cease or not last night because I'm not, in his head. But you talked about him having a frustration. That would frustrate me to no end, and it'd be very difficult for me to shake that off. And I think that that's probably one of the things as I look back on my pitching career, I could have done a whole lot better, trying to put things out of my mind and go back to work. But when the umpire, in your mind, basically gives them a 2-run home run, a lot of times that can stay with you for another 2 or 3 innings, and by that time you're out of the game.
Without question. And listen, I want to make clear we're speculating. We don't know that it's true. It's
That's
just
right,
this is how it appeared when you were watching it. It's very similar. It's exactly the same as when a hitter takes a 1-1 pitch that he deems as a ball. It's called a strike, right? And it changes the count from 1-2 or from 2-1 to 1-2. And then you may foul the next pitch off, and then you strike out on a pitch that you swing at that's in that similar spot that you already think is a ball. Everything in your being wants to just turn around and curse the umpire.
Strangle the umpire.
Right,
yeah.
because you're frustrated because you feel like he contributed to that strikeout.
Yeah, no question.
But you can't. I watch guys on a daily basis almost have that conversation with themselves in real time. Like as the whole thing unfolds, you can see them as they're gathering themselves to walk to the dugout. There's a piece of them that wants to turn and say whatever expletive they can possibly get out. But I mean, it just seemed like yesterday Cease was a little more frustrated than other. And you see guys go through this, right? Because every day you're not going to have your best stuff every day. You're not going to have your best command. But a good example of is Michael King. Like he's been in that spot a few different times where he's given up runs early, and he just you can see the frustration mounting. But there's a point where you got to make a decision whether you're going to remain frustrated or you're going to start like trying to figure out a way. And, I think Nathan Eovaldi at one point was like, there's a couple pitches he threw where he walked like around the mound. He was really irritated. He didn't even receive the ball back from the catcher. He was just back there making that decision in real time. All right, am I going to stay frustrated or am I going to try to figure this out? And clearly he figured it out. Dylan wasn't able to. And, Padres have another shot at it today.
Yeah, I want to go back to this, the pitch that wasn't called a strike. Because, again, if you look at it, it was clearly right there.
It was strike.
Yeah, it was there. So let's go now to the world where we have the automated umpire, whether that happens in a couple of years or not. And that would be overturned, or the Padres could challenge it, and it would be called a strike. I think a lot of Padre fans, after what happened last night, would say, yes, that's the way it should be. I want the automated umpire. What I think of when I see something like that happen is that's exactly why I don't want the automated umpire, because I want to see great athletes overcome a little bit of something that doesn't go their way. And I think that that's part of, being great, is being able to, come back and execute the next pitch and throw it where you want to and get the out that you feel you should have gotten on the pitch before. I mean, to me, it's a lot like basketball. I look at Luka, for example. This guy gets a call that goes against him, and he's mad about it for about 2.5 quarters. Other guys get a call that go against them. I don't know example of a player, whether it's Kobe or Jordan or somebody, but they just give me the ball and I'll score the next time. And I think
that doesn't mean they don't disagree and that they're not irritated about it, but they have to just move to the next play.
That's right. And I think that, again, we're speculating here because maybe Dylan Cease just moved right on to the next pitch and, just didn't make the pitch he wanted to anyway. But I think it's a great example of, sports doesn't always go your way. In golf, I mean, we all know this one, Scrape. You hit a shot that you think's good, and it's bouncing up toward the green, and it's going to be right there, and it hits something and caroms over into the sand trap. And now you're in the sand trap through no fault of your own.
You know what I've been saying on the golf course? Hang with them.
Well,
that's what I've been saying.
And if you can do that, then hopefully you can go into the sand trap and hit a good shot and get out of there. But
right,
I this is what I like in what happened last night, and this is why I don't want and don't need perfection from balls and strikes. I know it's probably going to come. I know I'm trying to stop something from happening, but I just think it's part of the world. I mean, in everyday life, things don't go your way. Some guy gets in front of you in that lane, and you miss a red light or a green light turns red, and now you're stuck for 5 minutes because this guy made a stupid decision in front of you. You have to still drive the car. It's annoying as hell, but what can you do?
Like the guy he's in front of you not paying attention, and then he pays attention when the light turns yellow. He goes, you're stuck still.
Yes.
Yeah, like that's irritating. I want nothing more than to just run through this light.
Of course.
But I can't do it. I can't do it.
So anyway, it's a life lesson for everybody. I don't know again that it's going to change Major League Baseball. I'm maybe making too much out of it, but I thought it had a lot to do with what happened last night. So.
I will say that you got the ABS system that they're talking about will be more like a couple mulligans. Like they're not going to be able to do it all game, but there'll probably be a key spot they save it for. So you won't have to deal with too much perfection. Just a couple times they got to change it up.
Now you look back on this game and you would have said, well, the Padres definitely would have challenged that one because it turned out to be a big call. But in a normal course of events, they might not have because it was only the first inning.
Exactly, because it's in the first. It's like, do we really want to give up one of our challenges here in the first?
Yeah. So it would have been something to think about. All right, Texas wins 7-0. The Padres, I hadn't realized this. I knew they'd done well at Globe Life Field, but they'd beaten the Rangers 11 times in a row. So that streak goes out the window. Hopefully they can start a new one tonight. And in order to do that, I think they're going to probably have to score some runs. They're going to have to get the offense going a little bit. You got Adam Mazur on the mound. Love to get 6 shutties from him, but he hasn't shown that ability yet. So, offensively, they got to get going.
They gave him incredible offense last time he was out, so that that went a long way in aiding in his.
He got his first win, So hopefully they can get the offense going. But for 2 days at least, this red hot or 2 games. This red-hot Padre offense has been cooled down. And like you said, Tony, you can't even complain about anything offensively last night because there was nothing. There was no chance. I mean, they got, a single with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. They got a single in the 9th inning. That's pretty much it. You could DVR fast forward through that offensive attack last night. So that does happen from time to time, and we'll see what happens. Now, as far as I want to go back to you talking, you dropped some names, so we got a minute or two. I mean, first of all, Will Venable, what did he say about the Rangers and why they've? Other than the slug, because this is a World Series team. I mean, how frustrated are they right now over there?
They don't show frustration, and I think that has to do with their manager, right? Because they're playing the long game. They think they still have a chance. He said they've played pockets. Like he said, they have consistently had like 3 or 4 game stretches like yesterday, but then it's like a couple weeks of the stretches they've had, which is why they sit below, 500, well below 500 at this point.
Right.
And so, they have some injuries. The young kid, was it Evan
Carter?
Gosh, Evan Carter.
Yeah.
He's dealing with a back injury. He was one of their big guys. Some of the veterans are struggling a little bit. Simeon's sitting 230 in the middle of a really bad slump. You got Corey Seager been, kind of banged up in and out of the lineup. They got a lot of things going on, but, as you saw yesterday, plenty capable of doing it. As we saw yesterday, the other interesting conversation I had was with Max.
Yes, I wanted to get to that for sure. Because he's always got an opinion on something.
Max, if you have an ear, he's willing to check. And he reminds me of my dad. Like when they get on a subject that they're passionate about, you don't have to ask too many questions. They'll do most of the talking.
Right.
And we got to talking about his health, and he's Padres would get him on Thursday, and he said he's finally feeling right. And we started to get into why he was feeling bad, and we got into the whole sticky ball situation. And it was just so interesting to hear from him why he's so passionate about MLB's crackdown and what it had, because it sounds like position players reacted, and he said, rightfully so, to the spider tech.
Yeah.
Even though everybody wasn't using it, there were a lot of guys using it, and I think everybody acknowledges that is a bridge too far, right? Because I asked him, I was like, have you ever touched this stuff before? Because I never touched it before. He was like, dude, it's ridiculous. Like these guys had no business using that stuff. But in the typically what happens when there's a correction is usually an overcorrection, and that means you're not able to use anything. And so, the hard part is trying to figure out what's too sticky, what's not sticky enough. And his opinion on and it sounds like there's a bunch of doctors who believe the same thing, is that because they can't use sticky stuff, what ends up happening is they end up gripping this ball even harder.
Too tight.
And they're gripping it so tight that now it's causing injury on to a lot of these elbows and different things that we see pretty consistently now. And it was just interesting to hear, what the solution is, because, there are a bunch of issues with, the having the ball pre-sticky, right, that I didn't even think of. Like, how does apparently the ball in Japan doesn't perform well. That sticky ball doesn't perform well in cold weather. Like, if it's warm, it's fine. If you're in a cold place, and then now you're worried about the consistency of these baseballs, and and that's a problem in itself. And so, it's sounds like it's going to be I mean, this is how Major League Baseball is going to legislate it for now, in terms of if umpires check you, and if umpire A deems what umpire C didn't deem sticky, guess what? You're suspended for 10. You got to come out. That's just because there really is no way to cipher. Okay, is this just screen and shaving cream? Is this just sunscreen and some pine tar, whatever it is, or is this something more? And there's really no way to police that. And so it was. He went on for about 30 minutes, just going off about the whole situation. I was just an ear to listen to, but he brought up some good points that I hadn't thought of.
Yeah, they are good, and to hear him talk and realize, look, this is a 3-time Cy Young Award winner. It's a guy with over 3,000 career strikeouts, 200-plus wins, etc. Shouldn't baseball, and I'm talking about Manfred and, the rule makers that are there, shouldn't they bring some of the players in on some of this stuff before they legislate? Because I would think somebody like Scherzer, even if we're not, if you out there are not a big Scherzer fan or whatever, I would still think his input should mean something. He's been around the game long enough to where I think you should listen to what he has to say before you make decisions sometimes.
But here's the kicker, because I think we both came to the same conclusion. Like, ultimately, he said the teams don't necessarily really – they like it the way it is. Why? Why do they like it the way it is? Well, because it's cheaper, right? What they have figured out in being able to add velocity nowadays, right? It's just like a cattle farm, right? You one guy goes down, you got another guy coming right behind him, and as he had a great phrase for it. We're already headed towards these 3-inning aliens, as he called them. Like they just, because they're only having to go 3, and because they are just going to continue to bring these relievers in, which I think has contributed to the offense being down. And so there's a lot of, I guess, micro problems that baseball still has to work out.
Max Scherzer and Tony Gwynn Jr. going to change the game as we know it someday, hopefully. All right, we'll take our first break. We're here for a couple of hours today. Tony's in Dallas. Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports talk station. Padres Rangers Game 2 coming up a little later on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you tired of eating at the same restaurants? Try Spiro's Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. Spiro's menu is based on traditional family recipes passed down through generations. Their food is fresh and authentic, and it's delicious, which is why family-owned Spiro's has been serving San Diegans for over 25 years on Coronado and now in downtown La Jolla. Go to Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine. For dining, takeout, or catering options, visit spiroscuisine.com.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back. Circa Survivor and Circa Million are now up to a record $16 million in guaranteed prizes. 2 ways to win and no rake. Circa Survivor contestants select one team each week with no point spread. Last the longest to win it all with $10 million guaranteed. In Circa Million, make 5 picks against the spread each week for your share of $6 million guaranteed through quarterly and full season payouts. Enter in Nevada. Play from anywhere. Visit circusports.com for details.
Need inspiration? Shop Ralph's for over 30,000 mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. More savings and more inspiring flavors make Ralph's worth it every time. Ralph's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties are 4 for $16 with your card when you buy 4. Ralph's, fresh for everyone.
Don't miss the Independence Day
All right, rolling into a Wednesday on New Year's.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm 6 months behind. 4th of July Eve. July 3rd, not January, Chris. 2:25 is the time, Chris Ello. Tony Gwynn Jr.'s in Dallas. He'll rejoin us in a little bit. Of course, Tony's getting ready for the broadcast tonight. He and Jesse will have it for us as the Padres look to get back on track in Game 2 against the Texas Rangers. Sam Levitt's pregame show precedes the ball game at 4 o'clock. This afternoon, following our program, Kennedy Landry, fine MLB.com writer, covers the Rangers, will be our guest on the program in a little bit. Find out a little insight into what our old friend Bruce Bochy is up to these days.
Lots of losing.
Well, it's not going their way this year, you know?
I say that as the Padres get beat by them last night.
Yeah. And, you know, the Padres, you put the stat up here, Scraby, which I think is a very interesting one. It was a tweet from Codify.
Oh, yes.
Or Codify or Codify?
I'm not sure, but either way.
Yeah, they list here in Major League Baseball, there are 4 teams that have 6 players who have an OPS of better than 700. And the 4 teams are Baltimore, which is one of the slugging teams in all of baseball. The Dodgers.
Makes
sense, but, you know, they're the Dodgers. The Astros, who are not having a great year, but we know how, you know, they can hit.
Yeah.
And then the Padres.
I know.
The Padres are the 4th team on that list. They have 6 guys with an OPS of better than 700. Profar and Tatis are over 800. Merrill, Jake, Manny, Hassan Kim. And, you know, what's interesting about that statistic, Scrabe, it doesn't include the guy who had the second best slugging percentage in all of baseball in the month of June. That guy being Kyle Higashioka. Yes.
He had such a great month that he didn't do enough to get him above that?
Well, he didn't get it. Well, he doesn't qualify. He doesn't have enough at-bats to qualify for the OPS stat.
But he would be the 7th.
He would be another guy. You know, let me see. Let me make sure of that. Because Higashioka was way down there for quite a while, right? Let's not forget. No, his OPS is 751. So he would be over the 700 mark. He just doesn't have enough to qualify. Solano's 732.
So there's 8 if
and
they
he's
qualify.
over. You know, where is Arise? 741. But Arise, that's his Padres statistics, 741. So you have 6 guys who qualify, 3 other guys who don't qualify for one reason or another. That's 9. That's your whole lineup.
Which makes this season so much more strange, as it always does, Chris, because...
Yes, why don't we have a better record?
Exactly!
I know.
It's so frustrating.
And how do things like last night happen, where they didn't sniff a drop in that game? And sniff is not the right phrase, but the other one is not suitable.
Can we chalk that up to just a night against a really good pitcher?
Yeah, Evaldi was on point. You know, we talked about that box that they put up there on the strike zone. He was hitting the lines of the box all night long. I mean, there was just no pitches in the middle of the plate. And to that end, Padres lineup is out for tonight's game. Scrabe.
Hold on.
And
hold on.
Padres are making some adjustments here. Thank you. Padres are taking out of the lineup tonight one of the 2 guys who got a hit last night. Yeah, Bryce Johnson's going to sit tonight. And as I discussed yesterday, David Peralta will be in right field. I've been surprised Peralta hasn't gotten more time out there. I think he's a much bigger offensive threat than Bryce Johnson at this point. But the Padres, I think so. I do.
He's got the veteran bat.
I've been, reasonably impressed with Peralta to this point. Nothing to really write home about. But anyway, he's going to be in there tonight. And otherwise, the lineup is pretty much the same with Arise, Profar, Cronenworth, Manny, Solano, Merrill. I think he even went 0 for 3 last night. Like, Eovaldi was so good, he struck out Jackson Merrill twice. Peralta, Kim, and Higashioka, the 9. Tonight against John Gray, former Rocky, who, if I'm not mistaken, and Scrape, I don't feel like looking this up right now, used to shove against the Padres when he pitched against them.
Let me see.
Back in the day with the
you mean in a
Colorado
National League
Rockies.
West mediocre pitcher who used to shove against the Padres?
I'm pretty sure he used to be very good against the Padres.
I'm looking.
I could be mistaken if you feel like looking that up.
I'm
but,
looking.
Game 2 of the series is coming up this evening. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Frozen Ropes, baseball and softball training facilities. Frozen Ropes now signing up athletes ages 6 through 12 for baseball and softball summer camps. Half-day, full-day options are available. Make it a Frozen Ropes summer. For more information, visit SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. That would be SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. I believe the name of this company has to do with hitting the ball hard.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
I think
Frozen Ropes.
Yeah, you've never heard that before, Chris?
Yes, I have.
He hit a frozen rope to the outfield.
No, we used to say that you hit the ball so hard on a line that you could hang your laundry from it.
That's a good one.
But that's kind of an old-fashioned one, right? Because not too many people really hang their laundry from a.
I do.
A line. You do?
I don't hang it from a line, but I do air dry some of my clothes.
Do you air dry from time to time?
I have his stats. John Gray.
Against the Padres.
Yes.
When he was with the Rockies, what's he got?
25 games.
25, so a big sample size.
A batting average against 231.
Not very much.
No. 15 homers, 7 stolen bases.
What was his ERA?
Or the ERA? I'm looking for it.
Oh. Am I going to have to look this up for you?
No,
since
like
you
they
can't
have all
find
the
it?
stats except for ERA.
John Gray.
Here's earned runs from like a total perspective. 48 earned runs he's given up.
All right. Well, in 25 games?
Yeah.
That's not very many.
No.
So with Scraby not doing a very good job of this.
What are you talking about? I went to the opponent. They
Yeah.
don't have the ERA listed.
All right. I'm going to have to just find this for you.
I can't wait till you go and find the opponent section and you don't see the ERA listed.
Against the San Diego Padres, in his career, 12-6, 2.99.
Where did you find this?
Gee, that took a long time.
Where did you find this? I'm looking at Baseball Reference.
25 starts, or
Where did
25
you find
games.
this?
He had John Gray started 24 times against the Padres, 144 innings. He struck out 159 against the Padres. He has a whip of 1.099. He's 12-6, 2.99. So I think that backs me up. He's very good against the Padres.
I believe you just made that up.
Or certainly has been. I'll show you. During the break. When we come back, Kennedy Landry, the latest on Boch and the Rangers when Gwynn and Chris resumes. All right, welcome back to Gwynn and Chris Ello, Matt Scraby, together in the Odyssey Palace Studios. Tony Gwynn Jr. getting ready for tonight's broadcast. He and Jesse for Padres Rangers, Game 2 of a 3-game series. John Gray, 12-6, 2.99 career against the Padres. Some of us can actually look that up. Some of us can't.
Oh, my gosh.
Adam Major will start for the Padres tonight as he continues to fill in for the whatever happened to Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish used to pitch for the Rangers. Speaking of the Rangers, we're really excited to have on the program Kennedy Landry, writer for MLB.com. Nice enough to fit us into her busy schedule today. Kennedy, how are you? Thanks so much for popping on with us here.
I'm good. Happy to be here. How are y'all?
We are all good,
except for last night's result. But
well,
you're feeling better than us.
we can live with that. We really don't go that. Yes, we do. We get that upset when they lose and that happy when they win. To that extent, the people in Texas this year, how have they handled the results to this point? I mean, I've always said that if the Padres won a World Series finally, they could, I wouldn't care if they won another game for 5 years. But, the Rangers win their World Series, but now this kind of season's happening. Are the fans being patient or are they getting upset?
Oh, no, the fans are not patient at all out here in Arlington, I can tell you that. I had a lot of people in my mentions on Twitter, after the World Series, like, oh, I don't care what happens. I don't care going into the off season and spring training. And, the first 7 game losing streak of the year and everything goes downhill. Everything goes out of the window. So I would not say that the fans are taking this 7 games under 500 very well, but there's a group of professionals in the clubhouse. Bruce Bochy, obviously, at the helm. They know what they're doing. It's a lot more calm and optimistic in the clubhouse than I would say the fan base right about now.
Yeah, what was it like after they won their – because the Rangers had been real close to winning that World Series. I mean, the Nelson Cruz year comes to mind quickly. And then they had another World Series appearance. I mean, to actually win it in a city where, frankly, the Dallas Cowboys are king, where you've got the Mavs, you've got the Stars, and, the Rangers were, I think, probably at least king for at least a couple of days. What was it like there to win one? Because we still don't know here.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun for me as a reporter who didn't, grow up in this area. Obviously, everybody knows Dallas Cowboys are who they are. They share a parking lot here in Arlington and all of those things. But for a full month, we're in October, right smack in the middle of, football season, the Rangers were king. And it was really great to be able to watch, the parade after the World Series, Game 1 of the World Series with Corey Seager tied it up and Dois Garcia walks it off. All of those things, beating the Astros in the ALCS, it felt like a baseball town for a good month, and it was a whole lot of fun. It was a great time. You could tell everybody in the Metroplex felt that energy coming out of this ballpark for a while there. So it's hard to explain, honestly, kind of put into words. I know I'm a writer, but especially for a franchise, to win their first one after over 50 years, it was phenomenal.
We're talking to Kennedy Landry of MLB.com. She covers the Texas Rangers. And I was thinking about Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom because both of them are making a ton of money. And I know that Max Scherzer is back and he's working himself back into form. But Jacob deGrom is still a little ways out. I'm curious how the fans feel about those two guys right now because really they haven't contributed up to what they're being paid. And I know that fans like to complain about salaries, and I do too. So what are the fans thinking about those two guys right now?
I think they would feel a little bit different if they didn't win the World Series last year, quite frankly.
True.
If Max Scherzer didn't have such a part in that really down the stretch. And even Jacob deGrom at the beginning of last season, you have to remember that the Rangers got into the playoffs by 1 or 2 games. There was a 3-way tie in the division. Astros won the tiebreaker, and then the Rangers got the tiebreaker over the Mariners for a wild card spot. So regardless of what they're getting paid, but Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom, by winning however many, Rangers won all 5 of Jacob deGrom's starts last year. That meant something down the stretch, and what Max Scherzer was able to do after the trade and all of those things. So I think obviously you want these guys on the field, you want them to be pitching, but I think it would be a lot different if they didn't win the World Series, and it would be a lot different if the Mets weren't handling a lot of Max Scherzer's salary as well. But Jacob deGrom is progressing well. He's throwing off the mound. Still has a target date after the trade deadline. So that might as well be the Rangers trade deadline acquisition, to be honest. And things are looking up on that front with Max Scherzer as well. He had 2 starts, only allowed 2 runs combined in those, and he'll be pitching in the series finale tomorrow. So things are looking up on the pitching end for the Rangers right now.
Yeah, the Rangers still, I think, have everybody's eye. I think everybody's got their eye on them. I mean, we know they can get hot. The second half, there's a long way to go. Kennedy Landry is with us from MLB.com. All right, Kennedy, I think you're one of the luckiest reporters in all of Major League Baseball because you get to hang around and see on a daily basis one of our all-time favorite people, Mr. Bochy. And, I mean, I know Tony, my partner, was down there, to see him yesterday. And with the Padres in town, I don't know if it's a little extra special for him, but I have a feeling he takes at least a nod toward the other dugout. This is one of the great guys in all of baseball. He's on his way to the Hall of Fame. We interviewed him here at the winter meetings before he ever got down there to Texas, and I would have never thought he was going to win another World Series. I don't even know if it was on his radar. So, just take us through your experience with Bruce, for the last while or so.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you guys know being around Bruce Bochy is a blessing for me personally every day, especially as a young reporter, being around a guy who knows how to handle the media, who respects the media's job, and all of those things. But I'm going to be honest, you say you don't think winning a World Series is on his radar. I think it was. I think he said, multiple times, and, people laughed at him on social media when he said, I didn't come back here to be a part of a rebuild. He didn't come out of retirement to lose 90 games. Or whatever, I think 90 games was what the Rangers lost the year before. He came back to win. I think he came back with the eye on, not for himself, but he came back to be back into the competition of things. Just have a good time, and winning baseball games is a good time. So I do think that Bruce Bochy came back out of retirement to try to win a World Series, to try to do it for a franchise that has never done it before. Former San Diego Padre Chris Young is the general manager. They have a great relationship, and Chris Young is a salesman. He sold Bruce Bochy on a vision of what he was trying to do, and it came true just in 1 year. I don't think Bruce Bochy could have foreseen it happening as quickly as it did come together. But he's a phenomenal manager. You've seen it. In San Diego, you saw it, within the division in San Francisco for all those years, and we're seeing it right now every day, despite the struggles that the Rangers are going through right now. But with Bruce Bochy at the helm, I think anything is quite frankly possible with whatever the Rangers are doing down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, as a former writer myself, before I got into this thing, because I wasn't good enough, honestly, as a writer. But you could be honestly on a daily basis having to hang out with Tommy Lasorda, and I know he's before your time, or even Aaron Boone on a more current. I mean, it's got to be so nice to know you can go into Boch and he's going to treat you with respect and probably not lose his cool, unless you have to really work to get him off his game.
Yeah, I think that was something I thought, coming in. Chris Woodward was the manager of the Rangers when I started on this beat in 2021, who was a good media manager. The record didn't reflect what anybody would have hoped, but he was a good media manager. So when you bring in Bruce Bochy, who's an older guy, been around for a long time, you honestly don't know what you're going to get with those types of guys. You can get a Tony La Russa when he came out of retirement. You can get a lot of different personalities in this game, and it was a very pleasant surprise. I heard great things about Bruce Bochy, but from the very beginning of spring training last year, through these last 2 years, and he's phenomenal to deal with. I really can't say enough good things about, what we have to deal with us as a beat every day with him.
Talking to Kennedy Landry of MLB.com. She covers the Texas Rangers. And I just want to ask about Nathan Eovaldi because last night he was amazing. And I just want to ask, is that how he is all the time? Or is it just against the Padres that he's hitting all of his spots?
Oh, no, he knows what he's doing. Nathan Eovaldi has been phenomenal for these last 2 years with the Rangers. We saw it in the postseason last year. He was really a postseason hero for a team that was down obviously Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer in the postseason. He became the real ace of this staff once Jacob deGrom went down last year, and he's looked every bit of it. I know he's had a few hiccups this year, but every pitcher does it, and he loves pitching in front of the home crowd. I think he's got a sub-2 ERA and 9 starts at home this year. He just seems to be lights out every time he pitches at Globe Life Field, and I promise he's not bullying the Padres, but when, his splitter's working, when cutter's working, everything kind of plays well off of each other. And he has a great rapport with catcher Jonah Heim behind the plate. The game planning, game calling is phenomenal. And he's a true pro, a true vet. We see it every day.
Last thing, Kennedy, and again, we really appreciate the time. Corey Seager, not in this series. I don't think people can underestimate how much he's meant to that franchise, signing the big contract there. That seemed to me that was the first domino to fall, and then everything else kind of followed. And he certainly, produced when the chips were on the table last year. When's he come back, and how much of a difference does he make as a leader on that team?
Yeah, Corey Seager, obviously not a man of many words, but he shows everything he's got on the field. He's great. World Series MVP, 2-time World Series MVP, one time with the Rangers. He got hit with a pitch the other day in Baltimore on his hand, so it's a little bruised. X-rays and MRIs came back clean, so he's still just trying to make sure he can grip the bat when he's good to go. Bruce Bochy said just about 30 minutes ago that he's going to talk to Seager before first pitch today, so there may be a lineup change. They may slot him in at DH, but nothing is positive yet. He would not confirm nor deny that. But the Rangers have pretty much taken an NIL stint off the table, it appears, and he should be back maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe this weekend when they face the Rays. But all things considered, it's a great turnout. Nothing was broken, nothing was torn there. So they're definitely hoping to get him back soon.
Kennedy Landry with up-to-the-minute information on the Texas Rangers for us. Hey, thanks, Kennedy. We really appreciate you coming on with us. And hopefully when you guys come to San Diego next year, we'll get a chance to say hi. But thanks again, and I hope to catch up with you down the road. Great job.
Beautiful. Thank you all for having me.
You betcha. There she goes, Kennedy Landry, MLB.com. What a nice young lady. And obviously, she's got it great. Because, I brought up Lasorda. That's another world, another era. We had Larry Boa here in San Diego. He could be so cantankerous. My point being, when you go to work and you don't know if the manager of the team is going to scream at you and yell at you and, basically hold you to a standard of asking perfect questions every day, it can after 160 games, it can be kind of tough as a beat writer.
I would turn it on him. I would say
you wouldn't.
Are you are you angry at me because you're actually angry with yourself?
Yeah, I'm sure I could see you saying that to Tommy Lasorda.
No, of course not.
That'd go over real well.
I clam up so fast when we get in those clubhouses.
Exactly. And and Aaron Boone again. And I'm sure these are great guys. She mentioned LaRussa. I think all these guys are terrific, but they have their tempers. They have their moments. I'm sure Bochy has his temper, but it just seems like it would be such a delight to go down to his office, before every game and hang out with Boch. That's the way I perceive it.
It's not hanging out. It's like what Mike Schilt does. He comes out into the dugout, you stand there with your arm up and recording his words, and then he walks away.
I don't know. Boch,
but, maybe it's a little bit different with him because that's the only thing I've experienced.
Boch is probably the kind of guy to take Kennedy Landry and her family fishing with him one day. Who knows? He's such he's a gem. Unfortunately, he's on the other side of it tonight.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
This is the required monthly test of the San Diego County Emergency Alert System. Repeating, this is only a test. This test is coming to you from the San Diego County Emergency Operations Center. If this had been an actual emergency, official messages would have followed the alert tone. This concludes the required monthly test.
That was fun. And every month we get that. Seems like we get it like every day. As soon as I'm talking, that bleep comes in.
Well, you know,
And you know what I mean by bleep.
If you were to see me on YouTube, you would see me throw my headphones.
He was not happy
because
about it.
I have to hit a button so that we can get to the music, and as soon as I hit that button, it starts this stupid monthly test thing. Ah! And you don't know what's coming.
Actually, I do know what's coming. Daily Gambit next on Gwynn and Chris.
Be the Fan.
Hi, welcome back to Gwynn and Chris, hour number 2 of a 2-hour show. Ahead of the man, Sammy Levitt, who will have the Padre pregame show about an hour from right now. Padres will take on the Texas Rangers after that.
He's slacking today.
Sam Levitt?
Yeah, he's not here.
He might be in the back, working.
Usually he comes in and says hello.
He usually comes in to try and. Well, yesterday he did the gritty right outside the window. That was his debut to the studio.
I gotta say, Sam, good dancer.
He's a funny guy. He's a funny
good
guy.
Good dancer. I wish I had some dance moves like him.
Got no moves. Yeah, I've never
got no moves.
No, I'm speaking of myself.
Yeah, no, me
not
too.
You.
Me too.
Yeah, I never liked dancing. Really. Like if my wife says, "Let's go out dancing," that's an okay because she wants to go response. That's not an okay because I want to go response.
Yeah, I'm not into the dancing either.
Don't like it.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you're that bad at it, like I think I am, then why should I make people have to put up with looking at it? Because when you go dance, there's other people around.
Yeah, but they're not paying attention to you.
Oh.
That's my biggest thing, is I think everybody's looking at me dance terribly, but no one's looking at me dance terribly. Everybody's drunk dancing themselves.
Really? You think you have to be drunk to be a dancer?
Oh, if I was going to dance,
you have to be.
I have to be drunk, yes.
You have to be.
That's why I haven't danced in over 7 years, Chris.
Love to see this story pop up before we get to today's Daily Gambit. Radio host suspended after, quote, unwelcome kiss.
Oh, Chris. When are you serving your suspension?
Yeah, sorry about that. When am I serving my suspension? I'm leaving tomorrow. I won't be back till Monday. No, this is Philadelphia sports radio host Howard Eskin, who is a quite the beloved, I must say, but also somewhat controversial figure.
Do you know why he's
in Philadelphia sports radio? He was he was kind of the original sports radio guy in Philadelphia.
Okay.
When sports radio began, in earnest in the 90s or so. So Howard Eskin's been doing it for a long time, but apparently thought it'd be a really good idea to plant a kiss on one of the food service provider workers at Citizens Bank Park the other day.
Like, I've been researching because I need to know what, okay. Blanket statement, not okay.
No.
And I don't think that, and I would never do this. But was it like a full-on kiss?
Don't know. Doesn't say anything about the involvement or non-involvement of tongue. It doesn't say anything like that. You brought it up.
That was so bad.
You brought it up.
I honestly would think in my head, the punishment level changes depending on what it was.
What kind of kiss?
If it was a kiss on the cheek.
Peck on the cheek?
Not okay.
Right.
But maybe like a couple days suspension. Like a kiss on the mouth, I'm thinking weeks.
Weeks. Yeah. All right. The Philadelphia Sports Radio 94 WIP said in a statement it learned of the, quote, unwelcome kiss and immediately investigated. So anyway, Philadelphia be without Howard Eskin for a while. Come on, people. Do better.
Yeah.
Do better than that. One other baseball note to pass along. This is actually a note of on the field. Trade deadline is at the end of this month, right?
Is it July 31st or August 1st?
I don't know. That's the end of the month either way.
I got to look.
Aaron Savali, 29-year-old right-hander, dealt from the Tampa Bay Rays to the Milwaukee Brewers today. Brewers are in need of some starting pitching.
July 30th.
They've had a lot of injury problems. They've been leaning on a rookie, Tobias Myers. They even went out and desperately signed Dallas Keuchel. The Brewers did.
Forgot about that.
Keuchel pitched actually okay yesterday for them in Colorado, but the Brewers looking for Aaron Savali to hopefully give their rotation a boost. Savali struggled in Tampa Bay this year, though. 5.17 ERA. So there you go. Kind of the first trade of the trade season. Although the two biggest trades in baseball this year, without question, were both made a while ago.
Yeah.
By your hometown San Diego Padres.
Yeah. Very true.
Yes, the addition of Dylan Cease, who is the very definition right now of inconsistent, I hate to say.
Yeah.
He's 7-7, so right there, that tells you he's inconsistent. But the thing that's most inconsistent about Dylan is that he is 7 innings, 1 hit, followed by 3 innings, 6 doubles, 2 home runs, and everything else.
He seems to struggle early and then figure it out for the rest of the game, but yesterday was not one of those days.
No. So
it's really frustrating.
See about Adam Mazer tonight. He did get his first victory and a win over the Brewers a week or so ago, maybe a week and a half ago. You know, I think they're going to have to score some runs tonight. And I don't even want to bring it up. But, alas, I will. They got the 5 games over 500. We were hoping, against all hope, that they would stay there. Now they're trickling back.
As long as they're above 500, I do not care.
I know. You just don't want that.
Still am not looking until August 1st.
Do not. Yes, you are.
To the stand. No, I haven't been looking at the standings at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Padres are in first place. They just passed the Dodgers.
They did not. I know that much.
You know that much?
Yes, I know that much.
Padres are 8.5 games back of the Dodgers still in the NL West with a record of 46-43. We'll see if they can get back on track. As mentioned, tonight is their 90th game of the year.
That's a lot of games.
And there's still 72 to go.
That's a lot of games.
I'm looking at one team right off the top. Cleveland has only played 83.
They've had a lot of rainouts this year.
But I'm saying the Padres have played that many more games. Atlanta's also played 83.
But as you said last week, that just means a lot I days in the second half of the season.
As a matter of fact, who has more wins right now, Mr. I don't look at the standings? The Braves or the Padres?
I believe the Braves and the Padres are almost tied.
They are tied.
They are tied.
In the win column.
Yes.
But in the loss column, the Padres have 6 more.
I don't look at standing. I still look and see who wins and loses.
I see. All right. Well, speaking of that, let's go to today's Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo!
If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Well, nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Chris, did you read the Frozen Ropes earlier? I think you did, right?
Yes, I did.
We talked about it. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, just making sure we're paying the bills over here.
I was on top of that one.
Yes, you were.
Nicely.
Yes, you were. First bet we made last night, the Aces and the Fever. The Aces were 13.5-point favorites over the Fever. You chose the Aces. I chose the Fever, and the Aces won big by 19. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 19. 19. 88.
I just want to let you know I got the fever. I got the fever.
For more cowbell?
And it means more cowbell.
I was
yeah.
gonna say.
I just love that skit. I can watch that every day, 5 times a day, and laugh every time.
Yeah.
The cowbell skit.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Even though I'm not a big Saturday Night Live person, it's pretty funny.
That's funny.
Caitlin Clark, over under 2.5 3-pointers made in the game. You said over, I said under. She only had 1.
I know. Come on, Caitlin.
I don't know where...
You're killing me.
You're killing... I think I put these
You're killing
in the
me,
wrong...
Smalls. By the way, if anybody's wondering whether or not Caitlin Clark is the reason why the WNBA is all of a sudden a big deal, and I understand all the other players are a big part of it, and Angel Reese has done her part, but did you see that last year's leading vote getter for the WNBA All-Stars was Asia Wilson?
Okay.
With 95,000 votes.
Wow.
This year's leader, Caitlin Clark, 700,000 votes. Yeah. That's almost 8 times as many votes this year for the WNBA All-Stars as last year. And last night's game in Las Vegas drew a crowd of over 20,000 fans.
They had to move stadiums, didn't they?
With all due respect to Kelsey Plum and Asia Wilson, who played for the Las Vegas Aces and their 2 championships, those 20,000 people were not there to see them. I mean, some of them were. But Caitlin Clark is moving the needle, and I don't know, what else to say about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. She is, I mean, that's
700,000 votes compared to last year, 95. That's Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't even really know what to say because it's that crazy.
Pretty much.
All right. I already said the Caitlin Clark thing. So Asia Wilson, over under 27.5 points in the game. Both of us went over, and both of us were correct by the hair of our chinny chin chin because she had 28 points.
There you go, Asia.
Padres, I don't know why I said that so weird. Padres minus 1.5 on the run line over the Rangers yesterday. Chris chose the Rangers. I chose the Padres, and I lost because the Padres lost 7-0.
Mm-hmm.
Chris won. Over under 7.5 runs in this game. Both of us said over. If the Padres were able to get 1 run, it would have been over, but they did not.
They didn't get 1.
So they were under. And then the next one was number of innings pitched between Cease and Evaldi. Evaldi pitched 7. Cease obviously went 3 2/3. So we both chose Cease.
And I understand analytics and everything. I get it. And, it's just a new world. And, it's always going to be this way. But why in the world would Nathan Evaldi ever even come out of that game? 7 innings, 1 hit. Nobody touched him. Why do you have to come out after 7 innings?
How many pitches did he throw? I have it right here.
I don't know.
Pitches 92.
92. I mean, it's just the way they do things now. And, I long for the old days sometimes.
You want someone's arm to fall off?
Yeah, right. It would fall right off if he went over 100 pitches.
Are we even going to do any bets? Because we're going to be off for okay.
Yeah, why not? Who do you like tonight? Texas is favored by 1.5 over the Padres tonight. So the odds are flip-flopped with John Gray pitching against the kid, Adam Major. I'll take the Padres this time. Come on. Let's go.
I'm sorry.
You don't buy into Major?
I know that they don't really have many choices, but I've seen enough to know that I'm not confident about this game tonight.
Right, so you take Texas.
Yeah.
And like we said, John Gray is always good against the Padres. Brewers and Rockies bring it up because the over-under is 12 runs. That's 4 runs higher than most every other game in baseball tonight. Colin Ray pitches for Milwaukee. Dakota Hudson, one of the worst starters in baseball, starts for the Rocks. 12 runs, Scrabe. That's 7 to 6 you got to get to.
You're making it sound like this is going to be really easy, so I'll just go over.
Go over. Last night was 4-3, so it was a little low scoring. Tonight they'll go over. Who gets more strikeouts tonight? Will it be Chris Sale of the Braves against San Francisco? Or will it be Zach Wheeler of the Phillies against the Chicago Cubs? Who gets more strikeouts? Chris Sale always gets more strikeouts. I'll say Sale. Zach Wheeler's pretty good, though.
I don't know. The Giants have been winning some games lately.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Wheeler.
Go with Zach Wheeler in that one. The odds are the exact same, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Big matchup tonight in Major League Soccer. Don't get that on the Daily Gambit board very often. But we've got a matchup between the LA Galaxy and the LA Football Club. It's a crosstown rivalry. LA.
I had no idea there were 2 different teams.
LA against. You didn't know there were 2 different teams?
No.
You really didn't?
No.
Yeah, there's 2 different teams, the Galaxy and LAFC. And they are in first and second place in the Western Division.
Okay.
Tonight they match up against each other. The over-under is 3.5 goals total. I will tell you that both the Galaxy and LAFC average 2 goals per game. Will they go over tonight, Mr. Scraby? I'm glad I brought this up so that you are now aware there are 2 teams there.
I know I probably shouldn't have admitted that, but I did.
Yeah.
With another really, really creative name, LAFC.
Yeah, I know. Are you taking a swipe at San Diego FC?
No.
Don't ever do that in my presence again.
Oh, yeah. Is that right?
That's right.
You're going to defend him to the
I'm
death?
going to defend him, yes.
What about the Wave?
I like the Wave's name.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the name.
Oh.
I'm going to go under.
Under 3.5 goals. Yeah, that sounds 2-1 is, Still a good
It's
game.
a barn burner. No, I'm just
I'll
kidding.
say
I'm
under.
taking unnecessary shots at soccer.
I'll say under 2. All right. Couple more. Brittany Griner, Phoenix, or our friend Ogunbowale of Dallas. Who's going to score more points tonight? Ogunbowale averages 22. Griner averages 20. Phoenix is at Dallas tonight. I'll take Ogunbowale. She seems to be good for her 22, 23 every game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with her too.
All right. But you have to pronounce her name in order to go.
Ogunbowale.
There you go. You're good at it.
I am good at that one.
All right. That's it. Wimbledon today, just in, the top seed, Jakob Sinner, really pushed by former Wimbledon finalist Matteo Berrettini in a second-round match. Sinner prevails. Check these scores out, Scrabe. 7-6, 7-6, 2-6, 7-6.
Wow.
So they had 3 tiebreakers, and Sinner won them all. And so he's able to advance into the third round at, I've noticed this, they call it now the Championships Wimbledon, which I don't like. The pretentiousness of that. The only other event in the world that is that pretentious is the Open.
But now, Chris, it's the Open Championship.
The Open Championship.
Now it's the championships.
Sounds like I'm not even...
Wimbledon.
Yeah, Wimbledon, yes. If you say... As a matter of fact, I was watching my second favorite show the other night, Jeopardy. Okay. You know I'm a regular viewer of Jeopardy. And that shouldn't surprise anybody, being as I'm, like, trivia crazy.
I was going to make fun of you, but I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I love trivia. Anyway, one of the answer the other night to one of the questions was Wimbledon. The contestant said Wimbledon, and they gave it to him at first, and then they reconsidered and took it away.
Wow.
Said it's not Wimbledon. You have to say Wimbledon.
What a loser.
I know.
I've always even known it was Wimbledon.
Yeah, they took his points away or his money or whatever they do.
I think Wimbledon.
Wimbledon, yes.
How do I say this?
Just lay it out there. It's the day before
they think
4th of July.
This is a very American take.
Okay.
They think that they are the cat's meow, Chris.
Oh, they do.
Oh, if you come to Wimbledon, you are just royalty.
Yes, you have to be royalty. I mean, they still have a royal box sitting behind the baseline at center court that is reserved only for
Charles.
Those folks, whoever it is, that
I wonder if
want to sit there.
This is a serious comment, but I wonder if we'll see Kate Middleton going to the championship because
you might.
I believe she's been there before.
Yeah, the whole royal family thing in England, I don't get that really.
I mean, we're American. We don't get that. Yes,
but there are people who still to this day hang on every word. You know what it is like to me? The royal family in England.
Political commentator coming
Political commentary coming up. It's like the real life version of the Real Housewives that we're all in love with here for no reason.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Kind of.
Okay.
I mean, the royals, I understand their significance as in like what they mean, what
the
they
historical
stand for.
Perspective of it is understandable.
But the English people that I've talked to have told me they don't really care.
Yeah, no, people have. Well, look, I mean,
and some do. I'm not saying that's wrong.
No,
if you do.
what's Harry and Meghan? I mean, basically checked out of the whole thing.
Because
so what does that tell you?
Terrible accusations about some of those people high up in that. Anyway, that's our
political commentary for today. And maybe that's not even political.
Our opinions on English royalty.
It's okay. Woodsy and Ben opened up with 20 minutes on screaming children on airplanes today.
Okay, good.
So we can get away with it.
Yes, I would like to know what they said because I wasn't up early enough for their open, but
I did hear it today.
That would be infuriating.
Well, as you would expect. They found it to be rather infuriating.
Okay.
Traffic, more Gwynn and Chris. Big Five coming up with Tony returning. Stick around.
From the
All right, Scraby, we can start our hearts again. Sammy Levitt has arrived in the building for the pregame show, which gets underway at 4 o'clock. It was closing in on the it's going to be the Nick DiNucci pregame show here.
I was just preparing.
It lasted
Nick for
much
it.
longer.
I was about to send out a search party.
Yeah, I know. I was going to put out an APB.
Oh, it's very nice.
All points bulletin.
Very nice. Or a bolo.
For anybody that's seen Sam Levitt. But apparently he lost his entry card into the building or misplaced it.
Knock on wood.
So
I am
you
really
haven't
good
done
at
that
not
yet?
losing stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, I never lose stuff.
Now that you've said it, it'll happen.
No, I mean, I've said it before and it hasn't happened.
Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile. You can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use our savings calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch. We have a couple of minutes before the Big Five. You wanted to bring this story up.
We still have to go to break, too.
I know.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about?
No, let's do it now. Yeah.
Just a real quick thing because it's. I don't know if this is going to make big news in this town or not. What do you think? I mean, the Wave is embroiled in a little. He said, she said. Is that the best way to say it?
I guess
there seems to be a little controversy with the Wave. Now they don't have a coach. We know that. We know the team has struggled this year on the field. Hasn't had the same success as it had the first 2 years. But a lot of people, apparently, are leaving this organization one way or the other, front office types, I'm saying, and they're very disgruntled. And I think, I don't know, is that the best way to describe it? I'm not trying to
I don't know
speak
if they're
out of turn here.
disgruntled or no, I don't think the word disgruntled, at least from where I sit, I don't think disgruntled is the word. I think the word is just disenchanted.
Okay.
That's a worse word.
I would say disenchanted to disgruntled are pretty
the same
similar.
thing. Okay. I'm trying to say that they're not like doing this because they want to get back at the team. They're doing this because they feel like there's a major problem with the team's hierarchy. And there was a video coordinator, and it seems like they ran.
Now, where did you find all of this stuff?
Well, first I saw it on the chat. Someone said, "What's going on with the Wave?" And then I Googled it, and I found all this other stuff. But there was a post made by someone who did the video for the Wave. Her name is Brittany. You can see it on Instagram. But she posted all these different things, and she was basically saying like, this place is
toxic.
Really bad for your mental health. This place is toxic.
Yeah.
And so she put up some of the things it said. I guess I'll just read it, but where should I?
Well,
I
just want to. I want to give this some connection. It's being reported on Awful Announcing, which is one of the websites, one of the places that is reporting it. So we're not just taking this out of thin air.
No.
But there are, several people have come out that have not working there, and they've accused the club of abusive leadership. The club, for its part, says, it's disgruntled employees who no longer work there.
That's the problem I have.
So
that's the problem I have.
How do you have a problem?
Because
maybe it is just
some
disgruntled employees.
It could be. I mean, but someone, and these are all like rumors. We haven't confirmed anything, but I can tell you, I'm reading a post from someone who used to work from the organization saying that. It says, regardless of repeatedly highlighting pervasive issues to the NWSL, the league has consistently failed to take meaningful action and instead turned a blind eye to the pattern of profoundly damaging behaviors. Their investigations into these matters were notably negligent. And then they go on to share an email from the Wave to Brittany.
All right. But let's leave that out. Let me just, you gave
that's
that
part of it.
All right, you gave that part of it. There's people that have been let go that are upset.
Yes.
But I think we should give the other side, and that is the Wave's response to this, which is San Diego Wave FC has been made aware of recent social media post by a former employee that contains inaccurate and defamatory statements about the club. Not only does the post contain a fabricated email, but the claims made therein are categorically false, including the ones directed at our president, Jill Ellis. San Diego Wave FC currently is reviewing this situation, and it intends to pursue all legal avenues available to appropriately address this matter.
I hope that goes for if they are lying, because, I mean, if this person did go out there and just do this because they were mad at the Wave, then I'm going to look like a big idiot, because I don't believe the Wave. And that's just based on face value stuff. Because a company usually comes out and says, you know what, we're going to look into these things that happen. We're going to see what actually happened here. We're going to do an investigation. Instead, the Wave was like, this employee's disgruntled, they're crazy, don't believe anything they say.
Well, I will also say that there are other tweets and emails from other employees beyond that employee who make some claims against the Wave as well. But I wanted to look, I don't want to create a big controversy, and I don't want everybody driving around out there thinking that the Wave is a, roughshod organization.
Yes, wait for this stuff to come out for yourself.
Wait for all of this to work itself out. We're bringing it up because it's going on, apparently, and it was behind the scenes. Now, apparently, it's kind of in front of the scenes.
Yes.
And it does involve a professional franchise in our city. But I think what the Wave said stands on its merit, and then the other people say what they say, and we'll see how it all goes.
Well, this will be
I can say this about Jill Ellis, if you wanted my opinion.
Yeah, go for it.
She's been wonderful to us in every way, shape, or form since they came to town.
The one thing I could say about them is they were very friendly to us in the first season, and then all of a sudden they didn't want anything to do with us in the rest of the seasons. Because we did reach out and we did try to get people on, and we were just keeping told no.
I will say that's fair. Because we did have a lot of Wave interviews the first season, and we enjoyed them, and everybody was terrific.
And we were and then we wanted to go to games, and then all of a sudden it just ended.
We also did want to promote the team as much as we can. Again, Tony's daughters all play girls soccer, so we're fans.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't be so in on blaming the Wave.
I think you just got to be careful.
I'm going to step back a little bit.
You got to be careful. You're bringing this to light. That's fair. But I want to make sure I bring to light what the Wave is saying.
Thank you, Chris.
To, at least put things on level footing for now.
Someone's asking, what is the actual complaint against the Wave? The complaint against the Wave is that they're treating
some of
people
their employees,
poorly.
Yeah, poorly. They've treated some of their employees very poorly, to the point where some are out of there and didn't want to work there anymore.
Yeah.
Wave say, no, not fair.
Yeah, I'm going to take a step back and let things develop, but
that's what you should
do.
I
really hope that this person
isn't
trying to pull a fast one on me, because I'll look pretty dumb.
Not always a hard thing to do.
In this case, it might be, because I just went way out on a limb for this person I've never met before.
You did go on a bit of a limb. I want you to be careful out there.
Thank you.
Big Five is coming up next. More Gwynn and Chris on the way.
Ben and Wood.
All right, we don't have, all the time in the world to unpack this whole thing with the wave. If you're just tuning in, we brought it up in the last segment that certainly some controversy surrounding our local women's pro sports franchise. The stories are pretty much, coming out. I mentioned awful announcing, but MSN has a story on this. USA Today has a story on this. Yahoo Sports has a story on this. So, all right, so the word, it's out there. And there's basically there's a former employee who is saying that she was treated so bad that, et cetera, et cetera. She's no longer part of the organization. The Wave came right out and said that it's all false, and they are going to pursue all legal action against the employee. So, as I told Scraby, let's just let this play out, but thought you should be made aware of it. I do want to say one more thing, because I was defending Jill Ellis in the last segment. I think she's always been wonderful to us. That's the only thing I can go on. But Carly Lloyd is one of the all-time famous players in women's national soccer history. But, yes, outspoken. But she was on Fox less than 48 hours ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she was asked about the U.S. women's national team and the coaches and the whole thing. Carly Lloyd said, quote, "We won championships and we hated our coaches."
Who was the coach?
Jill Ellis.
There you go. And I'm not saying that's going to make her guilty.
No, it doesn't.
I also want to say, too, the reason I jumped so far into it is because I think everybody knows I hate big business. I hate when people at the top try to cover things up. I hate when people at the top try to make life a living hell for the people who actually make the business work, which are the people at the bottom. And so that's why I got so crazy so quick.
Yeah, but don't get too crazy until you know what you're getting crazy about.
I know, you're
That's
right.
That's what I'm trying to make sure.
You're right. But if this is true, I'm going to be very...
It's very troubling if it's true.
Yes, very troubling.
Very troubling. And I think the Wave, there's a couple of more comments on this. A lot of people think the Wave should have said, hey, we're going to look into this.
I think
which is what you said.
Yeah.
Instead of just categorically denying it without anything.
This is the thing that drives me nuts about companies, about big business, is that they think that by putting that out, we're all just going to believe it and it's going to go away. We're not idiots, and that's what companies treat us as sometimes. They think that we're not going to see through the post of what the Wave put up. I see right through it.
All right, what we owe our listeners,
yes, you're
at
right.
the very least, we owe our listeners at the very least is for you and I to keep an eye going forward on this and at least have some sort of follow-up to where this goes.
Yes.
Because we've brought this up. Now we've brought it to light, on the show. And, I want to see how this turns out.
I do too.
Even to the point where we maybe should have, somebody from the Wave on to talk about it.
Maybe next week.
All right.
Because we're done for the week.
Yeah, we're kind of done for this week. So, all right. Gwynn and Chris, traffic, and then today's Big Five.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Double trouble on South 805, a crash right before Mira Mesa Boulevard. Car and semi involved in this one. They just cleared that out of lanes. Now further down, got an accident involving a motorcycle just past Murray Ridge. They're moving that over to the right shoulder. Another crash involving a motorcycle on southbound 5. This is just past Washington Street. Everything appears to be in the center divide. Cordell traffic cam shows a collision eastbound King Freeway just before the 15. That's in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. I'm not going to start with a Padre one today because I saw something that was so egregious I had to bring it to the show.
Number 5.
We're actually going to have 2 egregious topics here in the Big Five today. The first one is going to be about Shohei Ohtani. he has decided that he is not going to participate in the home run derby in Texas this year. He said he won't be doing it because, quote, I'm in the middle of my rehab progression, so it's not going to look like I'll be participating.
All right.
End quote. His rehab progression, by the way, has allowed him to play 83 games this year. 27 home runs, Chris.
Yeah.
Been swinging the bat really well.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Roberts said, quote,
that ain't right.
He's hit 27 home runs this year.
Yeah, more than that.
Not that I know of.
No, I think he's got 27. I think Judge
27?
is the only one over 30.
Yeah.
That's who I thought we were talking about.
You were going on Judge.
We're talking about
Judge.
Ohtani.
Yeah.
No, I'm cool with Judge. I like Judge.
You like Judge today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dave
you don't
Roberts
like Ohtani for whatever reason.
said,
Ohtani is in his crosshairs today.
Dave Roberts said, quote, he signed up here to help us win a championship, and nothing should get in the way of that.
Right?
In any other normal situation where he wasn't rehabbing, Chris, he would love to participate.
Okay.
That's what Dave Roberts said.
All right.
I know that it's weighed heavy on him, but I do think the rehab process is something that ultimately makes him feel better about bowing out. End quote.
Okay.
Chris.
Yes.
Should Shohei Ohtani be in the home run derby?
No, he doesn't want to be.
That's ridiculous.
Why is that ridiculous?
If he wants to contribute to the end of the home run derby, like the end of the...
Is Aaron Judge going to be in the home run derby? Has he announced that yet?
We don't know.
I think we do know that.
Did he already say he's not?
I think he said no.
I mean, other than Gunnar Henderson, I don't know any big sluggers that are going to be in the home run derby. I think this is fair for Ohtani this time around. You say he's rehabbing. He is rehabbing. I mean, the guy is superhuman that he can still go up and hit home runs and do all the things he can do, but he wants to get back to pitching again. And I think even one day of standing out there taking, whatever it is, 100 swings at full strength.
Hellacious swings.
In a half hour is something that he deems could be detrimental to him.
This is his profession, right?
I understand.
Okay.
Yes, and his profession is
profession is part of being a baseball player.
But being part of it for him is pitching, and he wants to get back to doing that. You know what? You're just being selfish here because you want to see him in the home run derby, but
he doesn't care if he's in it. He just wants to play.
He just wants. You know what? You're right. He just wants to.
Well, Ohtani just wants to play baseball.
You just want to bitch. You just want to bitch. That's all you're doing.
I don't know. Can we say that on the radio?
We just did.
Thank you.
By the way, Aaron Judge.
Yes.
Says he is skipping 2024 home run derby,
so
he's on the list too.
All right, get him on the list.
He's got no rehab.
All right, get him on the list.
Hey. Listen, we were asking different ways to say cool back in the day.
Yeah.
I thought about using that yesterday and asking Chris did they use that, but I was unsure if we could say it. I wish I would have.
Bitchin'?
Oh, bitchin'?
Yeah.
I think we could say that.
I think we could say that.
Yeah. But I think we both have the same answer, so you can probably move on to question 4.
Yeah, I think so.
Unless you want to get more riled up.
I just think it's ridiculous. I don't really care.
What is ridiculous?
The real part of me says I understand why he's not participating in the home run derby, but it's
the fake part of you.
The fake part of me is like Dave Roberts. He had such a hard time with this decision, and if he wasn't, I'm just so annoyed by everything.
So your Dave Roberts is in the crosshairs too.
Yes, everybody in the Dodgers organization is in the crosshairs today.
Got it.
Number 4.
Ramona Shelburne wrote an article for ESPN diving into the reason that Klay Thompson left the Warriors, and some interesting reasons were given. And from the article, it went like this, quote, the Warriors prioritized extending Jordan Poole for 4 years and $140 million and young swingman Andrew Wiggins for 4 years, $109 million over Thompson and Green the summer after they won a championship, which didn't sit well with either of the two veterans, sources said. So that's why Klay is a little, disenchanted with the Warriors and how they did things. Tony, do you think this is what tore the Warriors apart?
I think it was a bunch of different things. I think Draymond punching Jordan Poole certainly didn't help. I do think, and I have this kind of a personal opinion, when owners give a bunch of guys, a player, a bunch of money, and said player has an injury that, no fault of their own, it does seem like they take that personally. So they gave him Klay that money, and then he ended up tearing his knee in the finals, right? And then he tore his Achilles as he was coming back off of that. And I don't know. To me, why else would you prioritize? I know Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins over Klay Thompson. Like, I can't even think of a world in which you would do that. And so, athletes in general, not just Klay Thompson, they take things personally. And when they feel like, because here's what happens a lot of times when you're a young athlete, you get drafted by a team, there's the talk about business, but you don't perceive it that way. Like, when you get drafted, you think you're going to be with that team forever. Like, that is how it sits in all of our heads. And when you get traded or something along those lines happens, it's a shock to a lot of guys. And so when you go out, in his case, you help a team win, 3 titles, right? Back 3 and 4 years. And then when it comes time for the payday or your first big max, they're like, we kind of like Wiggins. We're going to take care of him first. We're going to take care of Jordan Poole first. We only helped you on one of those 3. That might cut you some type of way, And so I think it's all contributed to the breakup of the dynasty.
Chris?
I think Father Time has broken up the dynasty more than anything else, but what Tony said is accurate. I mean, Klay Thompson, I don't think felt he got the treatment of the nature that he deserhed. And the nickname of the team was the Splash Brothers, I mean, he's right. One of those. So, I think he felt some type of way, and it'd be interesting to see how well he does in Dallas. I know injuries contributed to the fact that his numbers were down last year, but will Luka set him up? Will he still have the same 3-point shot? If so, Dallas has picked up a hell of a one of the great shooters in the history of the league. So we'll see.
I think the other thing that it was reported, it kind of, I think, says a lot. He basically told Steph Curry not to use his influence on ownership. And to me, that is him saying, I want to see how they're going to treat me without you saying, hey, this is my brother, make sure you take care of him. He purposely had him stay out of it. And, I think, let's see, if he really, really wanted to stay, he probably wouldn't have told Steph that, because he would have felt more confident. But I think he kind of, by him telling Steph that, he kind of knew what was coming down the corner. Or he at least had a thought of what was coming around the corner, and he turned out to be right.
That's a pretty crazy way of going about it, but it's smart. It's very smart.
Number 3.
All right, I'm back on my All-Star Game thing. I saw an article this morning titled, Why Paul Skeens Will Start the All-Star Game. And of course, I thought this was preposterous, and I clicked and laughed at the same time as I was clicking. The author listed some reasons why he should start the game, and here they are. Number 1, he's pitching well enough to be the starter. Number 2, this would be great for Major League Baseball and great for his brand. Number 3, people will tune in to watch him. Number 4, he loves to pitch on the big stage. And number 5, he may go up against some big names in the lineup. Chris, would Paul Skeens be your starter at the All-Star Game?
Well, reason number 3 is the number 1 reason why he would be, and that's because people will watch. Everybody wants to see it. Look, a couple of years ago when the Dodgers had the game, they put Clayton Kershaw in as the starting pitcher. Did he deserve it necessarily that particular year? Maybe not. There was probably some other guys, but he was the guy that was going to bring the most eyeballs, the most interest. And Paul Skeens, whether you like him or not, everybody wants to see this guy pitch right now. So I have no problem with that. It's an exhibition game. Don't forget that. And you're going to exhibit your sport. Exhibit it with the people that...
Exhibit it?
Yes, exhibit it with the people that the others want to see most. I'm not tuning in.
It was Will that wrote this, too.
Oh, Will Leitch, our guy? Yeah. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, who would be the normal, if you were to say, starter in the National League right now? I mean, who's would you go with?
I'm not saying I agree or
disagree. Is it Imanaga? Who's
Matt Waldron, baby?
Zach Wheeler. I mean, these are great pitchers, but they're not going to bring any eyeballs to the game.
Ranger Suarez? He's having a pretty fantastic year.
Okay, well, there's a guy that nobody's going to tune in to watch pitch, unfortunately. So I don't have a problem with it. For the same reason, I don't have a problem you wanted to, before he got hurt, I think Fernando would have made the All-Star team because he's Fernando. He's exciting. Everybody wanted to see it. So why not?
Tony, would Paul Skeens be your starter at the All-Star game?
No, probably not. It'd probably be Ranger Suarez. I think he's deserved it. He's made more starts, just as good at numbers, better team. And, I don't believe that Paul Skeens is going to move the needle so that that many more people are going to tune into the MLB All-Star game.
I don't think he's going to get a random bubble fan to be like, "Oh, I need to watch the All-Star game tonight."
No, I don't. Okay. I think they'll watch the clips that'll come up on their IG feed. I don't think they're going to physically turn.
If we want to make sure we
channel.
get some eyeballs for the All-Star game, Caitlin Clark is starting for the National League on the mound.
But nonetheless, I think he's probably got a good chance to start it, though, at least. I don't know if Boats rolls that way. So we'll see.
All right.
Because that's Boats not coaching that side. I'm sorry.
No, it'll be our guy Torey Lovello.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I had to remember who.
Torey may very well do it. Yeah, I think he's got a chance to actually start.
Number 2.
3-2. In the air. Is it deep enough? Yes. Robert makes the catch. Here comes Jimenez. No throw. Guardians win it.
The story is not that the White Sox lost the game, but the story was that Luis Robert Jr. didn't even make a throw home last night to at least attempt to get an out on the walk-off for the Guardians, and fans of the White Sox were angry. They're like, we're already watching a really terrible team, and now our really terrible team isn't even trying, it seems like. So, Tony, what do you think about the no-throw by Luis Robert Jr.?
I have to be honest, didn't see it, the no-throw.
Well, basically, there was a guy on third, and it was a sac fly situation, and the guy was probably going to score anyway, but it was going to be a walk-off if he scored. Luis Robert caught the ball in center field and didn't even attempt to throw it home.
Go to Chris first, because I'm going to look at this before I give you an answer.
Okay.
I guess the guy could trip running down the third base line. So, with the longest of odds, maybe you should heave it home, but I think this is much ado about nothing, and probably would be nothing if the White Sox weren't already so bad.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and think that Tony's gonna take your side on this too.
We'll see. He's a former center fielder, and he's going to take a look at the play.
Yeah, no, that's much to do about nothing.
There you go.
All right.
Boom.
Number 1.
Mets DH JD Martinez was scratched from last night's game due to left ankle soreness, and we found out why after. JD Martinez, according to Tim Healy, said his ankle is sore because he tried a new cleat that didn't quite fit right. His shipment from Adidas was delayed, so he bought new cleats on Amazon, and he couldn't play last night because of it. Chris, if you were his teammate, what would you think about this?
Well, if I was the fourth outfielder, I'd be really happy about it because it might get me into the lineup. But this seems a little crazy. But, in this day and age, you got to be comfortable. I mean, Tony's the shoe expert, so I think we should leave this to him,
Yeah,
honestly.
Tony, what do you think?
I can't relate. I put on shoes straight out the box when I played. So, I mean, maybe I just got lucky. I never had a shoe that was so uncomfortable that I couldn't play in. Now, I also had my shoes that I picked out and, needed, so I didn't have this problem having to go to Amazon. But, yeah, man, I can't really speak to that. That seems a little weird.
I can speak to this part. I can speak to this part of it. When I was a kid and I got new shoes, and my mom always bought me the cheapest shoes she could find, they always hurt my feet. I was in total pain. And on a day like that, if everybody stayed after to play flag football in the schoolyard, I'd probably go home instead. So maybe I can understand J.D. Martinez's need to sit out a game.
There you go.
That's a very strange excuse, but that's also it for the Big Five.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
We talk Padres baseball from differing perspectives every angle, every day. Listen to Annie and Elston weekdays from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
And we say goodbye just like that. Gwynn and Chris, enjoy your 4th of July holiday. Sam Levitt's pregame show will include the unveiling of the Baseball All-Stars They're going to be announced here shortly. Sammy will let you know who from the Padres is in. Stay tuned for the pregame, then the game. For Tony Gwynn Jr., Scraby, Chris, enjoy it. Talk to you Monday.